I'm going to address two things in this video. We're going to talk about Donald Trump being racist and if I can prove that, which leads into the next one, which is him dealing with the coronavirus. And there's a reason why these two are interlinked, but when we get there, we get there. So, wow, what a whole big fucking even remote subject for me to talk about, but I'm going to try to do it in as small a frame as possible. The goal here is to not persuade you to believe me. The goal here is for you to think, does what I say have some plausibility to it? That's as far as you can go. If you want to just straight up believe me, do whatever the fuck you got to do. But, okay, so we're going to just run down a quick list of every incident since forever that he has been accused of some racist outlook. In the pre-presidency phase, he was dealing with a housing discrimination case against black people. He made a post out about the Central Park joggers. He's talked about black professionals. He's talked to a guy named David Duke. He had the Native American casino industry. He was on The Apprentice, Barack Obama's citizenship, the whole birther scam. He talked about Mexican immigrants. He proposed Muslim immigration bans. He talked about the Hispanic judge. He talked about the hate crime. He talked about the New Jersey Arabs. He talked about Somali refugees. He talked about racial accusations on Twitter and in his debates. And he tried this minority outreach during the 2016 campaign that was really weird because he would pick really off-putting. It's weird how I just am about to hit on his presidency and I have to prove this to you. So I want to go, instead of talking about every single one of them, because there's a lot, I want to talk about just one when it comes to his presidency. And the one that we're going to discuss today is the white power retweet. Okay. To my loyal friends and family, I have to ask you a question. When you retweet something and somebody says, yo, I don't think did you see what was in that? Do you think you would exist in a circle with anybody right now that would be willing to say white power? Think about that if you watch this. If you do, then what I'm going to say to you is not going to be shocking. If you don't, but you have this feeling that you do, this is probably going to be terrible for you. The only way certain things get to your attention on social media is if somewhere in your circle, someone is connected to that. That's how generally these networks work. Ad revenue. So the people in your circle click on things. If you click on one or two that they've clicked on, oh, your friend, you'll see on the top of Facebook, oh, your friend likes this or your friend likes that. It's trying to gather a group consensus here. Things that you comment on more, so a video like that. The only thing that happened to him was people told him to take it down, and he eventually took it down. And then, a couple days later, his press secretary said he didn't hear the white power. Now, what I've noticed with a lot of Donald Trump's blatant racism is that I think the definition of racism is still embroidered in a lot of people's heads, how the history books write it. And when I say history books, I mean them shitty-ass public school textbooks that we got. I can't even begin to tell you that I know for a fact it's not taught this way down south, but it is really weird to me that we think of racism as at its most extreme. We think of Nazism at its most extreme. Every time you bring up the Nazis, you always end up at the final solution. It's conversations about it just in general always end up mentioning the final solution somewhere. And it's not appalling to me. That's not the word here. It hurts me a little to try to figure out why we think of racism on its edge and not everything that it builds up from. People don't feel like going out and shouting racial slurs at people because that's their mode of the day. You gotta feel that. in your heart of hearts, you gotta feel that. It's not a part of your vocabulary. These are very basic things. And what I'm trying to like tell you out of this is when I looked at that one instance, I could look at all of them. You know, I could look at the Independence Day speech. I could look at he's talking about elimination of the affirmatively furthering fair housing. Like, why? If he's so like, oh God, I hate these people who bring up, oh, he signed a new executive order, this crime bill, or he did like this or that. I'm like, we are all judged on a moral scale at some point. I feel like if this guy wasn't the president, what he used to get slammed for pre-presidency, he'd be getting slammed for now. If it was just some dude on Twitter who was just making all these statuses and saying this, that, and the other, he'd have no pull. Nobody would care about what he says. But he's the you cannot be the same person. You cannot. And if this is what you turn into, then there's a problem there. And if this is what you've always been, then there's a problem there. And it's like when I try to make this, I tried to make this beautifully scripted to have this nice, cohesive, like argument about him not being there and not being of hate, and he just gets misunderstood and like, but here's the problem. And this is the message for this segment of the video. I want you to listen loud and clear. Just because he is not racist, if I give you that credit, does not mean that the other people who hear his words and are triggered into racist thoughts are not racist as well. That's the distinction I need you to make right now. You watching this video are probably not racist. But you allowing it to exist in the mainframe that is this society gives rise to racist feelings from other people. I hate that defense. That's the point of what I'm trying to tell you about. Is Donald Trump racist? The obviousness of it is that he has at least a very hardline prejudice to anybody who's not white. That's obvious because that's how the majority of fucking America thinks. Like, and you know that. You've said it before. You said it out loud. Why is it that white men keep running for president? Like, why are white men getting all the roles? Like, you were happy and you were excited that, like, at both sides of the aisle, there was just this core group of people who were just like, I don't want to be PC. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And I'm like, Donald Trump is a racist. Simple. How I can prove that to you? If he wasn't, there would be no reason for black people to be at the center of a political debate. Why wouldn't he just give them what they want? Like, do you not see how easy it is? I'm ending qualified immunity. That takes away support from his base. But if it's to improve the country and he's in the presidency, just fucking do that. Like, it's not hard to be a leader. If you are a good one. The guy is just not a good leader. He's built out of that bourgeoisie bread that we talk about with rich people in New York City. They could never understand how a poor person feels. You know that. And you ask more out of fucking LeBron James than you do the fucking president. And okay, great segue. LeBron James. Terrible segue. Just gonna do it anyway. So why are we talking about is Donald Trump racist with this argument? That even if he is not, he emboldens racist thoughts. Why does that have anything to do with this second topic, which is Trump and the coronavirus? Well, it's not like you want this to unleash the hounds, but we have a very dangerous situation on our hands here. So a big problem, a big fucking problem is that this happened. Like, as much as I'm okay, oh, that's a point that we're going to interject in there in a couple seconds. Sorry, it came to my head. Wanted to add that to the video. It's not on my sticky notes. You don't understand this. It's not bad that it happened because, at least in my opinion, you know, fuck them. Like, but there's a huge problem with a power vacuum in government if so happens that he passes from this. First, you don't want Mike Pence. I swear to God, the first thing we said when this whole thing was happening was that this was a plan for Pence to move up because Trump was going to croak at some point. I remember us saying that. That didn't happen. You don't want Pence. Pence is the younger, more fashionable, I could put a black mustache on him level of thinking. But just, he's like ultra old conservative, like, I almost said proletariat, but like Protestant, like old days, dark ages type shit. I'm not saying he gonna pick up the mantle that fast, but that would be a problem. If both of them became ill with it, you don't want Nancy Pelosi at the end of this. She on a whole power trip. Like, it's not a great... That's not even the point. That's not even the point. The bigger issue is if he heals. You're talking about a man who would weaponize a virus to score political points to stay in office because he likes the attention. Okay. The other question asked in my inbox I could finally get to was, is Donald Trump faking this? And it's not far-fetched only because the person that we're talking about has given us a framework in which this is possible. We know narcissists like to stay home. We know narcissists like all the attention to be on them. So what they'll do is they'll force you into a situation in which, like, you have no choice but to care. Then you get into like really depressed narcissists who start, threatening suicide. I'm a sociopath. Like, oh, I hurt you, but like you love me. That type of like abusive relationship. If he survives this, which I hope he does, believe it or not, I do, only because of what I'm probably about to say next, but also that's not the out for somebody. Like, you need to survive it so that way you have a change in moral compass and you could shift your entire base to be nicer people. I'm kind of hoping for that, but I know I'm not going to get that. But it's bad because now if he was, or if he survives this, or if he is faking it, or when he recovers, we have this whole big problem about what he's going to say after that. What is he going to say and or do? Is he going to use this to gain more power? Look, I beat COVID. It's not that bad. Reopen everything. Or is he going to say, I took COVID for the United States because that's what a leader does. And look, I survived, and that means you can too. You see how it's going to keep looping into the same point. Don't worry about it. Live your lives. Go out and vote. And that's going to empower people to say, look, even he survived it. And if he could do it, that means he's a leader strong enough. Sleepy Joe could never, like... Or if he doesn't survive it. So, is he faking it? I'm going to say no. Just clear, I'm going to say no. I don't think that's where this is headed. That doesn't make sense to me. He really, really galvanizes his base on strength. So it's not a direction I would foresee him going in, because the balance out of like, how do you make, like, he's not going to look strong because he made it clear that like COVID is not a big deal. Like, if Herman Cain's Twitter is still tweeting, none of that shit mattered anyway. So, yo. If he's not faking it, and he does fall ill, the last words he said to the world were to the Proud Boys to stand down and stand by. And that's what makes me almost understand why people think it's a conspiracy. It is quite literally the only thing that he could have said next that would have deflected from that comment is, I'm gonna die. Like, there's nothing else. So don't be mad at people for the conspiracy of it. So the other thing I wanted to add on to this, because that's the end of this video on that part, is you motherfuckers really sitting in here making me try to feel guilty for not like wishing the president well. Are you fucking insane? See, this is the problem with y'all. I told you out loud, I had a session where I cried on camera during a live before I started making videos about how many people died in my personal like life from COVID related symptoms, and just like normal life. And y'all, I swear to God, I never saw so many replies. Prove it. Where are the names? Where are the names? Give us the names. Gave a few people the names, told others to fuck off because, like, I told y'all to y'all face, the number currently sits at 75. It was at 72 earlier this week, so let's keep that in mind. And I still can't process that. 75. And y'all telling me move on. People die, bro. We gotta open the economy. Yeah, some people gonna get lost, but bro, we gotta open the economy. The what? Nigga, y'all got that whole fucking idea from? The whole point of you being able to tell me not to grieve gets the thing that makes me grieve, and now you want me to grieve. Like, yo, you're a bunch of hypocrites. Not, you know who I'm talking about. You're a bunch of fucking hypocrites. Y'all do that shit all the time, and it's pissing me off. Like, now I'm legitimately angry. I'm legitimately angry because y'all trying it with me. You're trying it with me. You're trying for some reason to equate like your feelings onto me. I'm fighting for equality, justice, the right for the justice system to view every human as human and not by the color of their skin. The system in place that automatically purports white people to just do better by just existing. I'm trying to fight that engine, and you are literally telling me to wish someone well who is the entire reason the system is oiled again. Like, fuck off. You don't get that from me. You don't get that from me. I never got a sorry for your losses, sorry for this, sorry for that. It was always keep pushing, bro. Get a job. You lazy. Why you on unemployment? Why this? Why that? This blah blah blah. This and that. People die all the time. Blah. Yeah, like, and then you're gonna weaponize it? Look, the tolerant left is wishing death on somebody. Bro, I would have wished death on Hitler if I didn't live in that fucking country. Like, there are bad people on this planet that just exist to do bad fucking things. And you're meeting somebody, and for some reason, you don't want to just escape that. People think I'm racist for my views because I'm a Republican. No, it's because your dumbass doesn't realize that an entire movement that is resurfacing for the fourth fucking time in America has attached itself to your party, and it is eating all your ideals up. I don't care that you don't... Okay, I'm going to say this out loud. Take it for what it is. I don't care that you don't want abortion. I believe in abortion. I believe that any woman should be able to do whatever the fuck she wants with her body. Because why is that a conversational piece? Like, just do it. Over with. Why can't we accept it? Yo, some of the shit we fight for should not be a fight. Slavery was legal in this country. White people could have stopped it. They all could have grouped together and said, nah, we're not going to do that. But they did. You keep viewing racism on its fringes. These are no longer people in the street going, not going to say the word, not going to say the word, not going to say the word. But they've integrated new ways of feeding this rhetoric to you. Black people are dangerous. They're coming into your homes. They're the radical left filled with all the minorities. And then you sit there and say, oh, there are black Republicans. Why is that a distinction? Think about it. The Democrats hold all the black vote. The Democrats, the left, they want you to walk away because now you're not a target for them. Like, yo, it is too easy. Because when you really think about things in a common sense way, none of that shit adds up. None of the conservative values that want to exist make sense in a modern world. We cannot have a utopian society. We can't go to the grass fields and the flying cars and the hover trains and all that. We can't get efficient if we still want to hold on to the old. I'm not saying that we should let go of all conservative values. Fuck no. That's not how we express ourselves in this country. But we do have to come to some one common belief, one common understanding about bad people and when they take power. There are really bad people in power now, and you know that. You know that you've experienced it. Tell you what, I'll flip it on this side. I'll give the racists a little something too. You ever meet a retail worker that was rude to you and you just felt like, the fuck, I come here and spend my money? And that's how you're going to treat me? That's how America treating black people. Boom, there it is for you. America treats black people like white people treat salespeople. Not even rude salespeople, just sales. If your money has to go towards somebody who has to give you something, that's how you treat black people. That horribly. Like, if they don't do everything perfect and nice and dainty in your way, you tell them, well, you don't belong here. Like, this is old. This is an argument that has been repeated over and over and over again. The whole idea of, where do you think you're getting that from? If you don't like America, then just leave. People come here clearly to find a better life. So what in your fucking mind can't tell you that, what if this place became like the others? Because we're so used to that hero culture. We're the top dogs, the A-team. We save the world. Then we sit back and chill with our martinis. Like, you motherfuckers are so dumb. You're watching the country slip away, and you don't understand how you're egging it on, because it's not you personally. But after months and months and months and years of hearing all that hateful rhetoric, you don't think there's a certain group of people in this country that just think everybody's the fucking enemy? You don't see that? You keep talking about how the left keeps painting people as these immoral things to get you to stay on their side. What if the whole idea is the immoral people like that defense? I can say things and get away with them because we have a great PR team to spin them. The people who you listen to that don't express their views this way, their whole ideology is hanging on by a thread. And that thread is Donald Trump. That's why they're out there saying, that's why they never condemned Herman Cain's account still tweeting. That's why they want you to feel bad for Trump now, even though they've literally gone on record to say this entire thing is a hoax. There's still people out there who probably think this COVID is a hoax, and now the president got it. So their whole worldview is shattered. Who do they believe in? What are they supposed to do? So this became a whole rant about how, like, just think about these two questions. Is Donald Trump racist, and is he faking having the coronavirus? Think about what good person on earth would ever have this doubted of them. And you're going to immediately go back to those conspiracy theories in March and April. Oh, Tom Hanks had COVID because they were protecting him because he got arrested because he was a pedophile. Like, fuck, man. 1918 all over again. You're going to repeat it. We're going to live through it. And it's going to suck. Because once we get really to a point where things start going back to humanely normal, where we work in big crowds and we just move like a well-oiled machine, I'm going to remember that I lost a lot of people. And that's going to piss me off. And then I'm going to end up doing some shit I don't want to do. Last but not least, at the end of this, I will say one thing and one thing only. If you are a Trump supporter and somehow you found this video, don't give up on, don't just take this video in stride and say, okay, so what? You still haven't proven your point. Think about it this way. If there wasn't any truth to this statement at all, do you think I could have such an extensive list to choose from? Certainly at some point, if the left is always just throwing darts at a board randomly, one of these got to hit for you. I'm not saying that you are a problem. I'm saying that what ideals you surround yourself with might be a symptom of a larger issue. And while you don't feel you contribute to it directly because you would never show up at a Klan rally, sometimes showing up at that homeowners association meeting and saying, yeah, it's great that there are no black people here. That might be a little bit also in there. Yeah, good episode, brother.